My wife looked me straight in the eyes and said I would never become anything. Then she walked out the door with a millionaire. What she didn't know was that 1 week earlier, I had quietly sold my company for $62 million. The moment my wife called me a failure was the exact moment my life had already changed forever. She just didn't know it yet. Her name was Melissa Carter, and for 12 years she was the center of my world. We met when we were both broke college kids in Austin, Texas. Back then, we used to split one burger at a diner because we couldn't afford two. We laughed about it like it was some kind of adventure. I was studying computer science. Melissa was studying marketing. She used to tell everyone that one day we were going to build something amazing together. But dreams look different when the bills start piling up. After college, I started working on a software idea. Nothing glamorous, just a small platform that helped logistics companies track shipments more efficiently. I called it NorthRiver Systems. At first, it was just me, a laptop, and a tiny rented office above a laundromat. Melissa supported me in the beginning. At least, I thought she did. "Jason," she would say, placing coffee on my desk late at night, "one day this is going to be huge. I believe in you." Those words kept me going during the hardest years of my life. Because building a company from nothing is brutal. While my friends were buying houses and taking vacations, I was sleeping 4 hours a night and living off instant noodles. Every dollar we had went into servers, developers, and marketing. There were months when our bank account dropped below $500. Melissa slowly started changing around that time. She began comparing our life to everyone else's. Her friends' husbands were doctors, lawyers, real estate investors. They drove luxury cars and took photos in exotic places. Meanwhile, I drove a 10-year-old Honda and spent weekends fixing bugs in my code. One night during dinner, she sighed and said quietly, "Jason, do you ever wonder if you're chasing something that will never happen?" That sentence stuck with me. But I kept going, because deep down, I believed in what I was building. 10 years passed like that. Slow progress, small clients, constant stress. Then something finally shifted. A major logistics company signed with us, then another and another. Suddenly, NorthRiver Systems started growing faster than I ever imagined. But I didn't tell many people, especially not Melissa. By that time, our marriage had already started falling apart. She went out more often, fancy events, business dinners with people I had never met. That's when Daniel Whitmore entered the picture. Daniel was everything I wasn't. He was a real estate developer in Austin worth tens of millions, expensive suits, sports cars, private club memberships. Melissa started mentioning his name casually. "Daniel thinks the housing market is going to explode. Daniel just bought another building downtown." At first, I ignored it. Then one night, I came home early and saw Daniel's car parked outside our house. My stomach dropped. Inside, the living room lights were dim. Soft music was playing. Melissa and Daniel were sitting close together on the couch. Too close. When they saw me, Daniel stood up awkwardly. Melissa didn't look embarrassed. She looked tired, like she had already made a decision. "Jason," she said calmly, "we need to talk." Those are the 4 words every man knows are never good. Daniel quietly left the house. Then Melissa sat across from me at the kitchen table and folded her arms. "I can't live like this anymore," she said. "Like what?" "Waiting for you to succeed." Her words felt like a punch to the chest. "I've given you 12 years, Jason. 12 years of believing in a dream that hasn't happened." I stared at her. "You think I'm not trying?" "That's the problem," she said coldly. "Trying isn't enough." Then she said the sentence that would echo in my mind for months. "Daniel has already built a life, a real life, not just a dream." I realized what she was saying. "You're leaving me." She didn't hesitate. Yes. The divorce happened faster than I expected. Melissa hired an aggressive lawyer, someone who treated the case like a battlefield. They argued that I had unstable income, that my business was risky, that Melissa deserved security. In court, they made me sound like a reckless gambler chasing tech fantasies. I sat there quietly while my entire life was dissected in front of strangers. The judge eventually ruled in her favor on most things. The house went to her, most of our savings went to her. My lawyer whispered that fighting further would only drag things out and cost more money. So I let it go. The day the divorce was finalized, Melissa met me outside the courthouse. Daniel was standing beside her in a tailored suit. She looked confident, almost victorious. For a moment, I thought she might say something kind, something respectful after 12 years of marriage. Instead, she leaned closer and whispered something I will never forget. "You're a failure, Jason." Then she walked away with Daniel. I stood there in the parking lot watching them leave, and I said absolutely nothing. Because 1 week earlier, I had sold NorthRiver Systems. The deal was signed in a quiet conference room in San Francisco. A large technology firm had offered to acquire my company after months of negotiations. The final number was written on the contract in black ink. $62 million. $62 million. But the agreement included a strict confidentiality clause. The sale could not be publicly announced until the transfer process was complete, which meant that when Melissa left me, she truly believed I had nothing. For the next 3 weeks, I stayed silent. The money was transferred slowly through legal channels. Lawyers called, bankers emailed, papers were signed. Then one morning, the acquisition was finally announced. Tech news websites picked it up first. Logistics startup NorthRiver Systems acquired for $62 million. My phone started exploding with notifications. Old friends congratulating me, former colleagues asking if the news was real. And then Melissa called. I stared at the phone for a long time before answering. Her voice sounded completely different. "Jason, I just saw the news." I didn't respond. "I didn't know," she continued quickly. "You never told me things were going that well." I almost laughed. "You told the court my business was worthless." Silence. Then she said something that revealed everything. "Maybe we made a mistake rushing the divorce." There it was. Not regret, not love, opportunity. I leaned back in my chair and looked out the window. "You left me because I was struggling," I said calmly. "You left because you thought I'd always struggle." Her voice cracked slightly. "People make mistakes, Jason." "Yes," I said, "they do." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then I ended the conversation with a sentence I had waited months to say. "You chose Daniel when you thought he had more. Now you know the truth. Live with that choice." I hung up. Daniel tried calling me a few days later. I didn't answer. I didn't need revenge. Life had already delivered something far more powerful: clarity. 6 months later, I moved to a quiet house outside Denver. Nothing extravagant, just mountains, fresh air, and space to breathe. For the first time in years, I slept peacefully. I invested some of the money, helped my parents retire, and started funding small tech founders that reminded me of my younger self. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that moment outside the courthouse, the moment Melissa called me a failure. Back then, it felt like the end of everything, but now I understand something important. Success doesn't just reveal what you've built, it reveals who truly believed in you when nothing existed yet. And sometimes the greatest victory isn't proving someone wrong, it's quietly building a life so strong that the people who doubted you no longer matter at all.